And we're back here on the GSMC Baseball Podcast, bringing you our fourth segment, which is going to be talking about some National League trades. We just went over some significant, important American League trades for this deadline, so we'll now be going over some National League trades that I did want to touch upon and give my thoughts on. So let's get into it. So the first trade I want to talk about is Martin Perez getting traded from the Pittsburgh Pirates to the San Diego Padres. Perez signed with the Pirates this year to do one thing, eat innings, and he did that. Didn't do it at the best ERA, but was always the guy that the Pirates could count on and throw 5 innings solid. Just be a veteran guy, crafty. Maybe would have a good start one or two times, and that's really all they asked for him. So once the Pirates did add some more pitching depth, Perez did become an odd man out on the roster, and they looked to shop him, and they shopped him to the Padres. The Padres ended up getting Perez to do exactly what the Pirates got him for, to eat innings. That's Perez's specialty. The Padres right now, with the injuries they have to their starting rotation with Joe Musgrove and Yu Darvish, just needed a guy like this in Perez. I'm sure he'll be DFA'd in like a month. He's here now to just make some starts, eat some innings, and when he starts, you just hope the Padres offense is on point, because you're not really gonna win with him. So yeah, overall a fine trade here by the Padres. Apparently the Pirates are very excited about the prospect they got back for Perez, which is really interesting. I don't know how they would get a significant prospect back for Martin Perez of all people, but they covered the entire salary of Perez to be able to get this guy back, and apparently they're really excited about him. So hey, good for them, I guess. Kind of strange that the Padres would do that, but whatever. So we'll be interested to see more of that. But yeah, good solid trade for both sides. Like it. Next, we have the man whose picture is here, Kevin Kiermaier, being traded from the Toronto Blue Jays to the Los Angeles Dodgers. Honestly, I think this is one of the most underrated trades of the entire deadline. I really like this trade for Los Angeles. I think that one of the Dodgers' main needs going into this deadline was a center fielder, and that is what they get here in Kevin Kiermaier. Kiermaier, we know what he is. He's going to be one of the best flashy center fielders in baseball. Defensive center fielders. Isn't really going to hit much, but as a guy you can play 8th or 9th, you can bat in the lineup 8th or 9th every day, who will make game-saving plays in center field and add a ton of value there. The Dodgers, very under the radar, needed a center fielder this year. You looked at James Outman last year, and the Dodgers kind of figured that he would be their franchise guy, but with the way he's performed this year, he really did not live up to that. And you had Andy Pages playing there earlier, and he just is not fit to be a center fielder. Very good hitter, but is a guy that profiles more to be a corner outfielder in the future, and he showed that. So we'll be interested to watch what Pages does, but getting Kiermaier, you add in a very good center fielder who can play there probably till Mookie gets back. I would assume that then Kiermaier goes to the bench as a late-game speed and defensive replacement. And yeah, I like this trade a lot. I think that, again, they needed a center fielder. Didn't pay a high cost for Kevin Kiermaier. And yeah, really, really nice addition here by the Dodgers. Very under the radar. Also, good for Kevin Kiermaier. Is one of the nicest guys in all of baseball. Never hear a bad thing about him. Was a great player with the Rays. Obviously was a good player here a year and a half for Toronto. I like that he's now able to go to a long playoff run and try to get a ring here with Los Angeles. Obviously, of course, made a World Series with Tampa a few years ago, but other than that, really never had a chance to win anything there. So I'm very excited for him to be able to get a chance to win a ring in Los Angeles. Of course, I hope the Mets win the World Series, but if anyone deserves a ring in baseball right now, I think it's Kevin Kiermaier. So good for him, and I hope that he does end up winning at least something there. Mark Canha was traded from the Detroit Tigers to the San Francisco Giants. I actually have a full segment planned for my fifth segment about the entire Giants trade deadline, so I'm going to hold off on this one until the next segment, but I just wanted to let you know about that so you don't wonder why I didn't go over it, because it was a pretty notable trade, I'd say. Next, we have Dylan Floro being traded from the Washington Nationals to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Yeah, really, really solid trade here by the Diamondbacks. Floro is a very solid middle relief pitcher for you guys, and being able to add him is really nice. You, of course, added A.J. Puck before as well, so the Diamondbacks are obviously stacking up on bullpen help, which they obviously need, and I like this trade a lot for Arizona. Again, Floro is just very consistent in the middle of that bullpen, as he has been for a few years now, and adding him if you are Arizona is just a very, very solid deal. Didn't really cost that much in prospects either, so he's really just an under-the-radar guy, and is someone that is battle-tested as well. Has been in the playoffs multiple times with a few different teams. Was a big-time reliever for the Dodgers team, so I think that overall it's a really nice addition for Arizona to be able to add Dylan Floro and just another solid middle relief arm in that pen to help out Paul Sewald on the back end. Puck has already done pretty well with Arizona, so I like the bullpen additions they made. Tanner Banks next was traded from the Chicago White Sox to the Philadelphia Phillies. Yeah, Banks had a really solid season as a lefty reliever with this White Sox pen. Has some control after this year as well. So being traded to the Phillies makes some sense. Is basically just an improved version of Gregory Soto, your second biggest lefty reliever, obviously, because your first is always going to be Jose Alvarado in that pen. But being able to add him as a Phillies fan, you should be happy. Again, is definitely an improvement over Gregory Soto with the way Soto was pitching this year. So I like this move a lot by Philly, getting a controllable, good starting pitcher in Tanner Banks. I think it's a really good addition, and I like what they ended up doing here with this move for the Phillies. Next, we'll be talking about Ryan De La Cruz being traded from the Miami Marlins to the Pittsburgh Pirates. De La Cruz to the Pirates was also one of the trade deadline acquisitions that I got correct, one of the 4 on my big list that I unfortunately did not have the time to show you guys because huge trades happened before I even got to do it. But yeah, I did predict De La Cruz to the Pirates. You don't have to believe me, but I did. I thought it made a lot of sense. Once Jazz Chisholm didn't get traded to Pittsburgh, I thought it made a lot of sense for them to pivot over to Brian De La Cruz, the other big Miami bat available at the deadline, and that's exactly what they did. De La Cruz hasn't had the greatest season this year with Miami, but has a good pedigree of how he's done in the past, and I think will do better also in a winning environment, which Pittsburgh is. They needed some bats, they need some younger bats as well. That's what they get here in De La Cruz, and I think should be a very good addition to this Pirates young hitting core. You don't have much there, but adding in now Brian De La Cruz should be really solid. I like the Nick York addition as well, which I've already talked about, but we'll mention again. So, yeah, it'll be really interesting to watch this Pirates trade deadline and how these additions, help them out in the future. But I like it. Finally, the last 2 are from the same team, so I want to talk about them. We have Huascar Brazoban going to the Mets from the Marlins, and Tyler Zuber going from the Rays to the Mets. Huascar Brazoban went from the Marlins to the Mets. I'm not sure if I said Mets. I don't really. I think I did, but just in case. Want to make that clear if you don't remember. They also traded for Paul Blackburn, but I talked about that trade yesterday on stream. But I'll be going over the 3 trades quickly here. So, Huascar Brazoban, been one of the most consistent relievers now for the past 2 years. Has really good stuff, has a lot of good movement on that stuff as well, has good control. He's under control till 2029, so obviously he's under control for the Mets for basically the rest of his career. Brazoban, I think, was one of the better trades made at the deadline altogether. Relief pitcher costs have been so high at this deadline, and the fact that the Mets were able to get Brazoban for a non-significant prospect in Wilfredo Lara, who was ranked by most people as not a top 30 prospect in the Mets organization, is really, really fantastic. I absolutely love this trade for the Mets. Should be thrown in really high leverage situations right away for this Mets team. Is a really, really great relief pitcher, and I really like this trade a lot for them. Tyler Zuber, also just good, solid depth as a bullpen arm for this Mets team. Has some options. I'm sure we'll start out in AAA, and if there's an injury, we'll come up. So, really nice move there. Paul Blackburn, I also talked about on stream yesterday, but going over it more for now. I think that Blackburn is a very solid starting pitching addition to this Mets team. They needed some depth, and being able to add in Blackburn to this starting rotation that has lost some people in Christian Scott and Kodai Senga now for most likely the rest of the year for both of them, I think is a really solid move, and I like it a lot, and it didn't really cost you much either. So, really, really solid move there as well. So that is it for our 4th segment here, going over some National League trades, going over ones that I thought were significant and wanted to talk about. So that's nice there. Going into our 5th and final segment here today, which is going to be talking about the San Francisco Giants and their trade deadline. I wanted to give myself a full segment to talk about the Giants trade deadline, and you'll see why. Basically, to put it up, to summarize it in a few words, I didn't like it. And I wanted to be able to rant about it and just kind of go over why I think it was horrible for the Giants to do what they did. And I'll be going over the Giants trade deadline and my thoughts on it. And we'll be seeing you after the break. So thanks and bye.